Yes, yes, y'all. I am back with another episode. It is your boy Genesis. You know what time it is. All right. With that being said, let's get into the spicy updates for Monday. And yes, we're gonna do this really fast. Probably gonna be 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minute stream. Who knows? Today's topic is Monday's update. It's getting spicy. All right. Of course, you already heard the news because we streamed it this morning about 6 hours ago. We spoke about Hunter Biden. We spoke about the pardon. And most people were like, even if I was a father, I am not going to do it. There's no way I'm going to do it. And I'm like, if that was your son, you would not pardon him. But most people cap. Most people cap a lot. Most people cap and cap and cap. That's what they do. Kaepernicks. If it was your son, you would have pardoned him. There's no way you would not have pardoned him. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into it. So everybody has been attacking Biden, saying, "Why did you do this?" Including the Democrats. Republicans, of course, they were going to attack him. I mean, there was no way the Republicans weren't going to attack him. That's what they're supposed to do. But the Democrats, they're attacking him too, saying, "Why did you do this? Now you're going to set us back years. And this is going to affect them in 2028 and 2032. But I'm so glad this happened because this is good news for conservatives. It is what it is. However, AOC may be running in 2028. We don't know yet. We're going to talk about that too, though. But for right now, let's see what the um, CNN commentators and news professionals are talking about.
The blowback over the Hunter Biden pardon has been swift. Republican lawmakers quick to criticize President Biden over this. Some Democrats also speaking out about the bad precedent that they fear that this sets. The incoming chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Republican Chuck Grassley, weighing in with this, saying, "I'm shocked that President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many, many times he wouldn't, and I believed him. Shame on me." CNN's Lauren Fox tracking the reaction in Washington for us. And there's a lot that we've already heard and likely a lot more to come, Lauren.
Yeah, lawmakers expected back in Washington this evening. We can expect that a lot of Republicans are going to be lashing out after this news broke late last night. But there are a number of Republicans who are making the argument that Joe Biden had said one thing and then done another. Now, there were also Republicans in the House who had worked on that impeachment probe, someone like Representative Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, who said if there was nothing to their probe, why is Hunter Biden being pardoned now? Obviously, these were different issues, but it's important to point out that the Republican backlash has been swift. Here's another Republican Senator, Ron Johnson, who said, just confirming that under Democratic governance, there truly is a dual system of justice, one that protects Democrats and another weaponized against their political opponent. But it's not just Republicans, Kate, that have criticized Biden. You are also hearing from a small number of Democrats, including Representative Greg Stanton from Arizona, saying, quote, "I respect President Biden, but I think he got this one wrong." He also goes on to say if this wasn't politically motivated, pro-Hunter committed felonies and was convicted by a jury of his peers. Kate?
Lauren, thank you so much for that. John?
All right, with us now, CNN political commentator Karen Finney and CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings. So, Karen, you just heard Democrat Greg Stanton, Democratic governor of Colorado Jared Polis. There are Democrats saying they're not happy that President Biden made this decision.
Yeah, well, tough. The president went ahead and did what he thought was right for him and to protect his son. And I think there are going to be Democrats who, from a political perspective, are going to feel like they may have to say something, but who probably on the inside understand why President Biden went ahead and did this. And I got to tell you, the crowing from Republicans, and I know my dear friend Scott will have plenty to say about this, but we're talking about Donald Trump is a convicted felon who literally had pardoned his daughter's father-in-law and just made him ambassador to
Oh,
France. So
really?
if we're going to talk about who's using what system in what fashion, let's put it all on the table and let's be honest about the fact that Donald Trump doesn't really have a leg to stand on in this one.
So, Scott Jennings, what about that? Steve Bannon, Charles Kushner, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, and Charles Kushner not just pardoned, but also apparently about to be nominated ambassador to France.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system
Yes.
to benefit himself
Yes.
and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, and that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes, and Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar, and there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
Yeah, he is a liar. There's no way anybody would believe that he's not a liar. He's absolutely a liar. However, I support the pardon. I would pardon my son too, but he's a liar.
Let me give some context to what Scott is saying just there, Karen, before you address it. Because this pardon, I do not believe we have mentioned it, not just granting clemency for the crimes for which Hunter Biden was convicted of illegally purchasing a gun, of tax evasion, but also a blanket pardon for any federal crimes that may have been committed basically between 2014 and 2024. So what about that literal get out of jail free card for a 10-year period, Karen?
Well, look, literally, the president recognizes that Republicans have been for years now trying to attack the president himself, go after his family. And when you have someone who literally ran their campaign on retribution, on the idea of I will be your retribution and getting back at his enemies, I would imagine, obviously I haven't spoken to the president about this, but I would imagine the president took a look at this and said, I want to make sure this is ironclad, that there is nothing that can be.
What is she even saying? I am your retribution. He said that in 2016. He's been saying the same line since 2016. So what are you even saying? And for the record, you guys started this political, ambitious DOJ taking down your political opponent. This is what it is.
Done to circumvent what I'm going to do to protect my son and to try to take the target off of his back once and for all. So that's my reading of it. But again, I think that the hypocrisy here, it is astounding. I mean, Donald Trump has said and done things, said things and done other things. And again, he's a convicted felon himself. He has used his power to benefit his friends, his wealthy allies. In this instance, we're talking about a man who decided to take care of his son after years of unrelenting attacks. I don't blame him.
Scott, did you have the same concerns over a justice system for the elite, as you put it before, when it was Donald Trump pardoning Steve Bannon, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Charlie Kushner? Same concern then?
Listen, you guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow caused by Donald Trump. Oh, he's appointing the wrong people. Oh, he did it. Oh, this is the worst possible thing a president could possibly do to his party and to the country, to sit for a year and say, I will not do this. I will not do this. The rule of law is sacred. We have to respect the justice system. Juries, we have to respect juries. We have to respect the guardrails and the norms of our democracy. These people are liars. Inflation, it's transitory. Afghanistan, it's a success. The border is secure. Robert Hur is a liar.
Yeah, they are absolute liars. I mean, everybody knows, but now it's just clear that they are 1000% lions and lionesses. Okay, it is what it is. However, why would Joe be saying, I would not pardon my son? What is wrong with you? You are a father. Why would you not pardon your son? That's what messed him up. He should have never said it. And now it's like, have you ever said the truth? Ever? Have you ever spoken facts from the day you became the president of the United States? Have you ever said the truth? Now that's what everybody's going to be asking, especially the Democratic voters. They're cooked. These guys are cooked for 2028 and 2032. I'm telling y'all, conservatives.
The videos are cheap fakes. Biden has a cold. He'll never drop out. Oh, I'll never pardon Hunter. It's all a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 38, 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait. He's disgraced. Disgraced today. Outrageous.
You don't need to.
Oh, God. Scott say, he's disgraced. He's disgraced, guys. This is it. I'm telling y'all, he is absolutely disgraced. He should have never said he wouldn't pardon his son. I don't know what kind of father would say they won't pardon their son. What is wrong with you, bro?
But Scott, you don't need to hurl names and say people like me are brain rotted. Come on, that's a little beyond the pale, even for you, Scott.
Listen,
We can
I
disagree. We
Stand
can
up for yourself.
disagree about
You don't
this,
have
but
to
we don't
defend
have
this.
to call
He's
each other
leaving
names.
office. You don't have to defend it. You don't
You don't have to defend it. Yo. This is way too funny. Yeah.
have to die on this hill. You can say this is wrong because
I'm
everybody
fine
knows
with
that it
it,
is.
Scott. That's why I'm
It's
defending
wrong.
it.
Are you
Karen?
fine with the lying? Are you
I say
fine
good
with
for
him
Joe
sitting
Biden.
before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family. Period. Full stop.
John,
Donald
do
Trump
we not
decided
have
that
the
it
minutes?
was okay
And
to pardon.
Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, how many minutes of tape do we have of
This is why 2028 and 2032 is going to be for the Republican Party. 1000%. Because listen to her right now. She's not even talking about Joe Biden. She's still talking about Trump. She's still talking about Trump. It's like, who is talking about Trump here? Trump didn't pardon his son. Joe pardoned his son. Joe, guys. Joe pardoned his son. Why do you have to bring Trump into it? This is why Trump is going to be a big deal forever. And the Republican Party is going to be booming in 2028, 2032. Nobody better come out and run for the Democratic Party because you're going to lose big.
both of these people telling the American people this will not happen? It's I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie, and it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's
fine,
all
but
that it
let's
is.
just-
And everybody who
let's
went on
just-
TV and said, "Oh, look how he's the
calling us
modern George
that.
Washington," he's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today, where they're going, so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining for them forever.
Well, and Karen, to be fair, we did Joe Biden. We did play that sound earlier. Did flat out say on multiple occasions, and the press secretary did, that he would not pardon.
He's a liar, bro. He's been a liar from day one. He's a lion. Okay, he is a lion, 1000%. But do I support that he pardon his son? Yes, heck yeah. Pardon your son. What in the world? You weren't gonna pardon your son? That's your son. You're gonna have to pardon your son. But why did you have to lie about it? You didn't have to lie.
Hunter Biden.
He sure did. And I will tell you that he probably heard from a lot of people who said, you know what, sir, go ahead and do it. You should go ahead and protect your son, because who knows what Trump and Trump's Department of Justice will do when they say that their number one goal is retribution. How could you not take the opportunity to say, you know what, this is one thing that I can do for my child. This is one thing I can do to help get the target off of his back.
They keep talking about Trump. Like, what are you even doing? Stop talking about Trump, guys. Stop talking about the 47th. Keep on to the 46th. This is why the Republican Party won this election. This is why the Democratic Party, the Democratic voters are gonna be switching side to the Republican Party. This is it. And this is good. This is good for the conservatives in the country. This is 1000% good for the conservatives, because why would you keep lying that you would never pardon your son?
I also, by the way, this is politics. And again, if we're going to, go down and compare list to list, it's not going to look very good for Donald Trump either. And I just don't have a problem with Joe Biden.
Why does she keep saying President Trump, guys? This is what got them in trouble during the election, and now she keeps saying the same thing. Y'all gonna lose big in 2028. Now the Republican better stop going back and forth. They better push on and step on the gas right now. Step on the gas and let everybody know he is a liar. He said he wasn't going to pardon his son. Make sure you say this for the next 4 years. So when you do run in 2028, after you fixed the border, after you fixed the economy, after you fixed foreign policies, keep on running the Joe Biden BS and make sure you run your accomplishment too. So whoever comes next and wants to come run, no, it's not gonna work.
Doing this at all.
All right.
Good for
Karen
him.
Finney.
And I know a lot of Democrats who agree with me.
Karen Finney, Scott Jennings, a discussion that I don't think is going away anytime soon. So
Yeah, that's BS. Nobody cares, bro. Straight BS.
Congressman, first, your reaction to Biden's pardon of Hunter.
Well, look, the one thing I certainly agree with is that this was an improperly politicized prosecution. Those two charges, as I know from 10 years as a prosecutor in the Department of Justice, are almost never, if ever, charged against a defendant in a standalone indictment. And the reason why they were charged is because Republicans in Congress improperly tried to intervene in an ongoing prosecution to scuttle a plea agreement that Hunter Biden and David Weiss had entered into. The plea agreement was unusual because of Donald Trump's threats of retribution and Hunter Biden's understandable concern that if Donald Trump won, that his Department of Justice would come after Hunter for other crimes that he wasn't charged with but was investigated for. So the president is exactly right that if his name were Hunter Smith and not Hunter Biden, he would not be charged with this, and that is not a proper outcome here. That's not a proper use of our rule of law. I wish the president had not stated after the plea agreement fell through that he would not pardon Hunter Biden, because it is discouraging that he has now gone back on his word on that. But the merits of the pardon and the reasons for it are legitimate, especially as you look at who Donald Trump is nominating, people like Matt Gaetz, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all of whom have threatened retribution against Hunter Biden and others.
Okay, you went out on a limb backing up Biden when he said that there would not be a pardon. In July of 2023, just after that plea deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think
This is the BS they kept talking about. Like he wasn't gonna pardon his son. Why wouldn't you pardon your son, bro? Come on, man.
you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It had already fallen
that
through.
Only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through. And I hear what you're saying about the Kash Patel appointment, but you took him at his word. So what does that feel like, knowing that he's gone back on it?
He's a liar, bro. He's been a liar. And it's fine. It's fine, okay? You are a liar. Let the American people know that you lie for a living. You've been lying for 4 years. And you messed up the Democratic Party. You messed up the Democratic Party. And this is Joe's legacy, basically. This is his legacy. He's messed up the Democratic Party big, huge time. However, I do support the pardon because that's his son. But this is also a bad look for the Democratic Party. And this is going to probably destroy the Democratic Party. Like, set them back years. Because they've been acting like they're the truth party. They're the ones for the people. They're the ones that believe the Department of Justice. They're the ones that don't take anybody above the law. But now it's BS. Everybody sees it now. Nah, it's a two-tier system. One for the elites and one for the broke. One for the elites and one for the brokies. It is what it is. It's been that way since 1900, 1800, 700, 1600.
Well, as I said, I'm disappointed that after the plea fell through and it became clear about why it did, including Republican congressional intervention in this case, which made this case very unique and very different from any other case. I think that we all, perhaps I should have as well, recognized that this is not the normal prosecution. I said many times that if Hunter Biden were not Hunter Biden, he would never be charged with these crimes. And when you start to see what Donald Trump is planning to do with his Department of Justice and with his FBI, and the degree to which Hunter Biden has already been shamelessly attacked as a private citizen by Republicans, I certainly understand why the president felt like this miscarriage of justice should not carry forward and that he should not be at risk of retributive.
The more they try to explain this BS, the worse it sounds. It's like, can you guys have some wisdom? Can you guys have, wow, baby, that looks nice. Can you guys have some wisdom? What are you even saying? The more you defend this BS, the worse it sounds. And the more your voters, the Democratic voters, the Democratic registered voters are going to be like, this is BS. We are going to the Republican Party, or at least be an independent voters, because this right here just set the Democratic Party years behind, except the like diehard leftists falling off the cliff voters.
Prosecution for political reasons, which is not the proper way to execute our rule of law.
Do you think that President Biden's pardon of his son may actually put some pressure on some Senate Republicans who have concerns about Kash Patel being FBI director, that it may actually pressure them to confirm him?
I don't really see how one thing would have anything to do with the other. I find it pretty ironic and hypocritical that so many Republicans have seemed to find the rule of law to Joe Biden's pardoning of Hunter and are happily ignorant of the rule of law when it comes to Donald Trump and everything that he has done. But Kash Patel is a danger because he's unqualified and because
They keep talking about Donald Trump. What is wrong with these folks? They never learned during the campaign with Kamala and all the stuff she was saying about Trump. Leave this OG out of this conversation. Leave the Don out of this conversation. Leave the legend out of this conversation because now you're just digging your grave deeper. The ditch is getting deeper. What are you doing? Stop talking about him because your voters are already angry. Now you're saying, what about Trump? What about what he did? Man, y'all finna go all the way back 20 years. Set yourself back 20 years.
he is out for revenge on behalf of Donald Trump. And that is not who we should have leading what should be a nonpartisan, apolitical FBI.
If I was their press release coordinates and, I'm in charge of their press, whatever that is called, I would spin this and say, this is the ultimate love of a father to a son. They should just keep it on that level. Leave Trump the heck out of this, okay? Leave Trump the heck out of this. Just focus on saying that a father's love to his son is unconditional, and he did it. He did it based on love. And let the people say, maybe because of the love he has for his son and whatever. But the more you keep saying, what about Trump? You're messing up this whole thing. Just spin it and say it's the love of a father to his son and keep it that way. Continue pushing it in the news that it's the love of a father to a son, and maybe your voters are gonna forgive you.
That has a 10-year term for a reason, so that it is not in line with the political process. So Kash Patel is a danger separate and apart from anything having to do with Hunter Biden's pardon, but it is yet another example of how Donald Trump is a danger to our rule of law and why Joe Biden felt compelled to pardon Hunter.
I guess there's a question of, I mean, listen, the things you are alleging, a lot of people will agree with you on that. There are even some Republicans who may agree with your ideas there about Donald Trump, the norms that he's broken. And the question then becomes, do you respond to the breaking of norms by either breaking other norms or by breaking your promise? Which is certainly in this case something Biden did. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, and that's why I don't think that, and you haven't heard me say that Joe Biden is justified in pardoning Hunter Biden because Donald Trump pardoned Roger Stone, who had incriminating information about him, and Paul Manafort and Charlie Kushner, and the list goes on. That's not why it's okay, in my view, for Joe Biden to
So then, to your
pardon
point of
Hunter.
what you said about, say, Kash Patel, or we've seen perhaps what Trump wants from his law enforcement arm, having picked Matt Gaetz. Obviously, that didn't work out for him, but then Pam Bondi, someone who's very loyal to him and whose independence has been questioned. Is it then your belief that the Justice Department, the law enforcement, federal law enforcement, should Americans have faith in federal law enforcement now? Because it seems that this decision has brought that into question.
Thank you to everybody tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up and subscribe to the channel. Come here, baby. Okay, so Chris, shout out to Chris Townsend. Chris says yes, but this dad should not be pardoning his son. It's absolute madness. Imagine if Trump had done this with one of his son. I think that the problem, young man. You think that's the problem, young man? Yeah. Look, Trump would have done the same thing. Look, nobody. I don't care what anybody else says. Trump would have 1,000% pardoned his son. Everybody, look, as a father, you will pardon your child. When I see some fathers up here saying, there's no way when my son messes up, I'm going to be the first person to criticize my son. Yes, criticizing your son is different from sending your son to jail. Okay. Yeah, my child is the first person on the pardon list. As a matter of fact, the first day I took office, he's been pardoned forever. And previous life, she's lived. Because what are you saying? That's my daughter. Okay, that's his son. Give him a break, because everybody would do that. Come here, boo boo.
I think what it brings it into question are the nominees that Donald Trump has put forward. Matt Gaetz, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. These are not people who are going to implement the rule of law. They have been picked to weaponize the federal government against Donald Trump's enemies and his adversaries. And that is the risk to the rule of law. And that is why Joe Biden used his authority to protect his son.
Let me extend what you're saying then. And I hear your argument. Then it sounds like you're saying yes, that Americans cannot have faith in federal law enforcement as it is implemented by these picks that Trump is making. I mean, is that a fair representation of your opinion on this?
I think it's yet to be seen, and certainly I'm not going to put the cart before the horse. But based on the statements that people like Matt Gaetz, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump himself have made over the last couple of years, they have been very explicit about their desire to weaponize the Department of Justice for their own political purposes. I don't give a single bit of credit to this BS coming from Republicans that Joe Biden and the Biden administration has weaponized the Department of Justice. We had an entire subcommittee for 2 years on this, and they didn't show one example where there was any weaponization. This is projection, and it is a distraction. The reality is that Donald Trump tried to 10 times or more weaponize the Department of Justice in his first administration, and he is now putting loyalists in the critical positions at the Department of Justice who will absolutely weaponize it even more. So the risk we have is under a Trump presidency that of the Department of Justice being weaponized, not at all under a Biden administration. And we, including the media, cannot give any credit to that bogus argument.
Congressman Dan Goldman, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Yo, thank you for tuning in to the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy, Genesis. All right, let's go. Next one.
Donald Trump's bombastic pick to run the FBI.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big.
Already has some controversial ideas for overhauling the Bureau.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and
Yeah, Kash Patel, this dude ain't playing around. The next FBI Director Kash Patel picked by the 47th. Everybody's scared. And this is why Joe Biden pardoned his son. And you guys are saying you wouldn't pardon your son if it was you. I'm definitely 1000% going to pardon my son because it is what it is. Family first. Even in the statement he wrote, he said, as a father and a president. So he said the father first. So he's counting himself as a father first and then the president next. I know you guys are going to say, well, he ran to be the president of the United States and all that stuff. Bro, if you have kids, that's the first thing in your mind. Look at Kash Patel. This man ain't playing around. He probably would have sent Hunter to jail. Look at his face.
Be opening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
In choosing Kash Patel to lead the law enforcement agency, Trump picked a loyal firebrand who has vowed to take on the so-called deep state, which Patel claims is made of journalists, big tech, elected leaders, and senior government bureaucrats.
And our biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
He's also shown a taste for retribution, including over false claims of 2020 election fraud.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
He's been a public defender and a federal prosecutor in the Justice Department's National Security Division. During the first Trump term, he worked on the National Security Council and then as chief of staff to the acting defense secretary.
We're blessed by God to have Donald Trump be our juggernaut of justice, to be our leader, to be our continued warrior in the arena.
Patel defended Trump against the charges he faced in the now dropped classified documents case.
They can take.
So with Kash Patel saying he wants to come after the press for helping Joe Biden maybe win the election in 2020 or help, kind of like make Trump lose in 2020. This is going to be bad for business because if you think about what Hillary Clinton said, she said everybody who is spreading misinformation should be sent to jail. So he's essentially saying the same thing. This is my thing, okay? I support common sense, okay? Just like when Trump said he wants to give immunity to all law enforcement. That's BS, okay? That's straight BS, okay? I like the guy. I like what he does. I like that he is a man of his words. However, giving immunity to all law enforcement, straight BS, bro. That's straight BS. I mean, who's going to hold you guys accountable? Everybody's an adult. Well, adults should be held accountable and should be responsible for their actions. So if you say you're going to give law enforcement full immunity, what does that mean? So if they make mistakes and it's a mistake that could be avoided, what does that mean? So you mean they would not be reprehended for their wrongdoings? That's BS too. Okay. So we can like someone, but when the person does some BS stuff, just say this is straight BS. Okay.
What they want. You can't be prosecuted for possessing classified documents.
And while he's claimed violent offenders from January 6th deserve punishment, he's defended others charged in relation to the riot at the...
Yo, do you guys hear? Look, Trump just said he was going to pardon everybody for J6. Of course, what do you think? I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that, especially now that Joe Biden has pardoned his son. Trump is saying, well, what about the patriot for J6? So here we go. Going down this rabbit hole is never going to end. There will be no criminal because the jail will be empty. This next 4 years, everybody's getting pardoned. Everybody. You better call your dads from jail and say, you're coming home, Dad. You're getting pardoned.
U.S. Capitol.
Their lives have been destroyed by the Justice Department because of a political vendetta they want to enact through the justice system to take out Trump.
As for his other endeavors, Patel has a line of apparel as brash as its creator, with items featuring his signature KA$H. He also penned a children's trilogy, apparently dedicated to Trump, the, quote, king of the series. The most recent installment describes the tale of the, quote, MAGA king and his journey to, quote, take down Kamala and reclaim his throne. Patel's book for adults, Government Gangsters, now his rallying cry for reform.
I am going to go on a government gangsters manhunt in Washington, D.C. for our great president. Who's coming with me?
Now, Now, Kash Patel is a controversial pick for this job for a lot of reasons. One, I mean, we already have an FBI director, Christopher Wray, who serves a 10-year term that's designed to take politics out of the equation. So Trump is either going to have to fire Wray or Wray is going to have to quit. But Patel is also controversial even among Trump's inner circle. A lot of people kind of see him as this sort of relentless self-promoter. He really pushed himself for a role in this administration, but ultimately he was successful. Donald Trump has been very clear that he wants people who are fiercely loyal to him, especially in this roles at the FBI, the Justice Department, and in intelligence. And Kash Patel certainly fits that bill, Jake.
All right, Sarah Murray, thanks so much. Let's talk about this with Josh Campbell, who's a CNN security analyst, and Elena Plott-Calabro, a staff writer for The Atlantic, who has covered Kash Patel extensively. So, Josh, I want to play some sound from North Carolina Governor-elect Josh Stein talking about Kash Patel. Take a listen.
Well, I want somebody who respects the rule of law, and his nomination for the FBI does not give me confidence that that's a top priority.
So we hear a lot of Democrats and even some Republicans echoing that skepticism. What do you think the Patel appointment would mean for the FBI? Could he impact how the Bureau presses investigations?
Yeah, the director has great oversight and power as it relates to investigations. And first, I've been talking with sources inside the FBI, many different people, and a lot of them wanted to dispel this myth that some other networks have apparently been reporting, and that's, FBI agents are scared or afraid. I mean, these are dogged people that put their heads down, they do their work. But what I am hearing is there is grave concern in two respects. The first that you just mentioned there, potential impact on investigations. In this case, someone like Patel, who, as Sarah reported, an extreme Trump political loyalist. Would he try to get FBI employees to investigate Trump's opponents? Would he try to stop any investigations that begin within Trump's orbit? That is a major question. And then second, it comes down to independence. Historically, there has been this at distance that a White House would keep the FBI because this is a powerful law enforcement agency. People may not realize that the FBI doesn't brief the White House on every investigation that it conducts. And that's because a lot of times they could be investigating political opponents or political loyalists of a president. The big question here is, what will that independence look like? How would that be impacted? And then finally, I just wanted to read one line from this great insightful piece that Elena wrote recently on Patel. What she said in talking to sources around the Trump world is that people called Patel dangerous, not because he would come in on day one as FBI director or CI director with a plan, but because he appeared to have no plan at all. His priorities today always subject to a mercurial president's wishes tomorrow. That's the big question. How far would he go for Trump?
And Elena, as Sarah noted in her piece, Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters, and it's bouncing around the internet today. Tim Miller from Bulwark among the people who noticed that in that book, it lists...
Okay, so AAA says, who is Kash? Who is Kash Patel? Kash Patel is an American lawyer and former federal prosecutor at the U.S. Department of Justice. He was also the chief of staff to the U.S. Secretary of Defense, and this was during 2016 Trump's first presidency. And he also served as a U.S. National Security Council official. Also served as a senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence. So now he has been nominated by, of course, the 47th President-elect Trump to be the new director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And this man, he's a Trumper. He is like a diehard fan Trumper. And, everybody has their own reservation. However, this is who he is. This is his background. This is what he does. He has experience. People saying he doesn't have experience to run the FBI. That's cap. I think he does have the experience. However, this is the sole reason why the big dog Joe Biden pardoned his son. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Not pardon your son? Look at this dude right here. This guy is saying he's a gangster for the president. You better know.
Individuals that Patel considers the quote-unquote deep state. People on the deep state list include President Biden, former Attorney General for Donald Trump, Bill Barr, Attorney General Garland, Robert Mueller, what Patel calls the, quote, entire fake news press corps, unquote. What is he going to do with this list, or is this just bombast?
I don't think that we are in a position to call anything to do with Kash Patel at this point just bombast, especially if he does end up getting this directorship. And if he doesn't, Jake, I very much suspect that Trump will find a way to install him, whether in an acting capacity or in a role that does not require Senate confirmation at the top of the American.
So this is the thing, right? When people say they're trying to debate me, your embassy software says, do you have a way for people to debate you? Nope. This is my show. Listen.
Intelligence apparatus. And the reason I say that is because while the public doesn't quite know who Kash Patel is, the fact was that in Trump's first term, he came dangerously close to almost this very role. Trump really wanted to promote him at one point to deputy FBI director.
What are you trying to help me talk through? Let me know. Like, what are you trying to tell me that Joe Biden shouldn't pardon his son, or Kash Patel is not right for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or what are you trying to do? Let me know. Put it in the chat, okay?
Director. Then there was deputy CIA director. I mean, various senior positions that were it not for people like CIA Director Gina Haspel or Attorney.
And somebody said, do you think civil war is coming? I don't think civil war is coming. Let me tell y'all something. Everybody talks about civil war like it's sweet. No, it's not sweet. Look, you better know you want your peace, you want your freedom, you want your protection. That's what it is. You want your family around you. You don't want to be displaced. Okay, so we're not even going to talk about that, and we're not even going to instigate that, and we're never going to support that. Okay, it's peace. We support peace. Okay, we support peace. By the way, when the economy bounces back, you see Bitcoin is already at the all-time high. Everything seems to be coming back just by the mention of this dude becoming the president-elect of the United States. The border is already getting to a good spot because now the Mexican female president, the first female president of Mexico, she's now about to play ball. She's playing ball with the president. She's now supporting his policies. She's saying, look, we don't want tariffs. We're going to do what we can to secure the border. This is what a commander-in-chief, a legendary president, will do to support and protect his people. Yeah, that's what it is. Even like the foreign policies like Ukraine, Russia, Israel, the Lebanese people, the Palestinian people, and Iran, all of those will be solved. It's just with common sense. You can be a diplomat and solve all of this stuff. You don't have to argue and fight wars. Wars don't help anybody. Okay, it just collapses a state that was in peace.
Attorney General Bill Barr, who the latter, of course, said over my dead body to the idea.
Shout out to Dan. Dan says subscribe. God bless you, bro.
Of Kash being promoted to deputy FBI director. Without people like that in this administration, and Trump has made clear he has no desire to install the quote unquote guardrails that populated his first administration, I don't think there's any doubt that whether it's as FBI director or some other highly powerful position, Kash Patel, we will see him try to use whatever means he has to launch, or at least try to launch, investigations into many of the people that are listed in that appendix of his book.
And you wrote over the summer, quote, should he return to the White House, there will be no Millies, Haspels, or even Barrs to restrain him as he seeks revenge against his political enemies. You're talking about Donald Trump there. Instead, there will be Patels, those whose true faith and allegiance belong not to a nation, but to one man. So let's just assume for the sake of argument that he does a recess appointment of Kash Patel, or somehow he gets through the Senate. I mean, Republicans control 53 seats in the Senate right now, so who knows? Would there be any check on Patel? Would Attorney General Pam Bondi do anything?
I can't predict that, Jake. I think especially with a role like the FBI, which as Josh knows better than anyone, has just historically been entirely detached from partisan politics in this country. I think we really are entering uncharted territory with respect to not only what Kash Patel would do atop the FBI, but also what would it look like in terms of, if there are people who, whether it's in the GSA, if he is insistent on closing down the Herbert Hoover building and creating it as a museum to the deep state, as he has said he's going to do, J. Edgar Hoover, excuse me. I don't know what that looks like, and from GSA or other senior officials, what can they actually exercise in a Trump administration to curb perhaps some of the more extreme impulses of officials or would-be officials like Kash Patel.
Elena, Josh, thanks to both of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. God bless you for tuning in. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. Double tap your screen. I'm gonna show you how to like this live stream, okay? Because most people are like, Genesis, we can't find a way to like your live show. How do I like your live show? All right, let me show you. You go here. So where is it? All right. So this is the stream right here. All you have to do is double tap your screen. All right. Double tap your screen twice. Double tap your screen twice, and you would have given this live stream a like, okay? This is for the people watching on the horizontal, no, on the vertical, and people watching on the horizontal, you know how to like it. It's just right there on the bottom. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in one more time. Yeah, somebody said that's like not true on the Mexican president. What do you mean? Like the Mexican president said what? She wasn't gonna play ball. I'm gonna play you that video. She's ready to play ball. She doesn't want tariff. Almost 80% or more than 80% of Mexican exports comes into the United States. So what do you think is gonna happen? She's gonna want a trade war with the United States that gives them billions of dollars every single year on trade. United States is their biggest market when it comes to export. And you know what export means, right? They're exporting stuff into the United States. So they are getting money in return, favors in return. You think they're going to want to stop that? Yeah, she better play ball. She got no choice because she's going to have to answer to her people when the economy starts tanking. So you going to have to play ball. Next one.
We're getting new reaction from the White House after President Biden breaks yet another promise to the American people, giving a full and unconditional pardon to his son, Hunter, after repeatedly telling us he would never do it. Biden also claimed Hunter was a victim and, quote, unfairly prosecuted. And now the White House is denying that the president lied. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-host, Harris Faulkner. Also joining us, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business anchor and host of American Dream Home, Lisa Booth, Fox News political analyst, and Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business. And now to this. Hunter, off the hook for everything. Reporters just grilled White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre in an off-camera gaggle on Air Force One about the president's decision to pardon his son. Now, Hunter was scheduled to be sentenced this month. It was December 12th on federal gun and tax charges. And the sweeping pardon spares him a possible prison sentence, a complete reversal by the president of the United States.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. The president's not going to pardon his son. It's no. It's still no.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
They were categorical. They were emphatic. And now Karine Jean-Pierre is denying that those statements were lies.
I wanted to ask you, could those statements now be seen as lies from the American people? Is there really a credibility issue here given now this announcement?
First of all, one of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. He came to this decision this weekend, so let's be very clear about that. He says it himself. And
how soon could the next round of, pardons could come?
I don't have a timeline for you. As you know, this usually happens towards the end, and so the president is going through that process. I'm not going to get ahead of him, but you can expect more announcements to come.
And she doubled down on Biden's claim that Hunter was singled out.
They targeted him because his last name was Biden.
What is she
Here's the
saying?
problem, Charles Payne. So he's a victim of injustice by the Department of Injustice. Okay, problem here, the facts. August 11th, 2023. Let's pull it up. This was the DOJ press release. 2023, you'll remember, guess who was president? His name was Joe Biden. This happened. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced today the appointment of U.S. Attorney David Weiss to serve as special counsel for the ongoing investigation and prosecutions referenced and described in United States v. Hunter Biden. So Biden's DOJ with Biden's handpicked attorney general selectively prosecuted Biden's son.
Yeah. But I also think, you know, looking at the executive grant of clemency here, this is what I think the real deal is, right? So he's pardoned from a period that begins January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024. It's not the cases he's been found guilty on. It's the cases that he was never brought to trial on. The other things that we know or we feel in our hearts are a lot more egregious, a lot more offensive, and maybe even crimes against the United States. This is a preventive measure. I mean, you look at the folks that are going to be in these jobs in 2 months. They're going to go back. They were going to go back and look at this on behalf of the American public. After all, the accusations of influence peddling is huge.
Yeah.
This protects Hunter Biden from, in my mind, true justice. And it's a true travesty against everybody in this country, no matter what political party you're in.
It is a travesty. You know, if you really think about this, Melania Trump has her closet raided by Merrick Garland's DOJ, and then Biden's White House pardons his son. People see the disparity. But what bothers me most here, and I want to pull up her picture, are the innocent Americans that have been prosecuted, and you could say tortured by the Biden DOJ, one of whom is Paulette Harlow, 76 years old, convicted in a court of law, 2-year prison sentence. She has medical ailments. She stood in front of a pro-life clinic with 9 others peacefully, and she's prosecuted under a little U statute. She's currently at Alexandria Detention Center. But Harris Faulkner, she gets no pardon.
So are we shocked that the president's son is getting special treatment? Are we shocked that a guy who pulled off a stunt on Capitol Hill because he wanted to flout a subpoena in the middle of the investigations was allowed to do so? Are we shocked that his dad would give him not just a little bit of a pardon, but a wiping away of 10 years that maybe he might even be able to testify against his father now without the move of, oh, it might jeopardize me criminally? Former ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, has made that point. So are we shocked that regular, everyday Americans don't get the same special treatment that a Biden does? No, we're not. We just thought it might stop because Biden said it would. Why did we believe him? That's on us. And by the way, he's in Angola today. I had Rich Edson from the Fox Business Network and FNC, Fox News Channel, earlier on my program reporting. I said, why Angola? It's an oil-rich nation with some of the greatest amount of food insecurity on the planet. Why go there right now? And Rich said, well, you know, they have a lot of ties to China right now because China's moving into southwestern African continent, just like they did in the northern part of that continent, so blah, blah, blah. What are we learning? Who did dealings with China? Whose hands might be a little messy? Where are you going? Who are you talking to? Watch what he does. Remember, he said, watch me. Oh, we're watching. 49 days. We got our eyes on you, Biden.
And here's what we should watch for. I think we have this. This is Karine Jean-Pierre just moments ago telling us that something is going to happen from President Biden. Listen to this.
It sounds like he thinks there could be further prosecution of Hunter under a Trump administration.
He didn't believe that they would let up, right? He didn't think that they would continue to go after his son. That's what he believed. And look, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals to the original part of your question.
So more pardons are coming, Cheryl Casoni. Maybe Jim Biden? Just asking.
The president's brother. And that was one of the first questions that was asked this morning on the heels of this breaking news. And I want to pick up on something Charles said, which is very important. This goes back to 2014. That is when Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma. That is the energy company that he did not, let's be honest, did have the resume to serve upon. So there's been many questions, thanks to James Comer and his lengthy amount of investigations that he has had in his committee. James Comer quoted this morning saying it's the tip of the iceberg.
Shout out to everybody watching the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Okay, so shout out to Chris Townsend one more time. He said, and that's a shame that people don't have accountability, and his sons, his children have accountability. And that's wonderful. I am happy for you. I'm glad that you have responsible children. However, children make mistakes, okay? And mistakes that can set them back for the rest of their lives, or that can tarnish their image for life, or that could even really end them. So, if you were the president of the United States and your son, your child that you love, your precious children that trained and you nurtured, you love, you cherish, you care for, made a mistake, are you gonna say, you know what? Go there and do your time. No, you're never going to say that. You're going to say, I got you, son. I love you, son. I'm going to do what I have to do to protect you because I am your father. Okay. And even if they lose their way, they become drug addict or whatever. I'm not saying your kid will become drug addict. I'm saying like anybody hypothetically, if their kid becomes drug addict, that's something that you still have to help them through. And this guy was a drug addict. Okay. Probably, I don't know if it's still, but he's been sober for a long time, 5 years now. I mean, let this boy get this pardon, man. I don't support Joe, never will. I think it's a whack precedent. However, I support this, man. Pardon your child. I will. I would have. And he pardoned his son for 10 years. Bro, I would have pardoned my daughter for 20 years. Matter of fact, since she was born.
Iceberg. So, did Joe Biden pardon Hunter? Yes. Is he maybe going to come out with another sweeping pardon in advance of James Biden? He could. There actually is precedent. Gerald Ford did that for Richard Nixon. So it could be crimes not charged, crimes that have not been brought to a courtroom that could be included.
This is the thing right here. Someone said, children make mistakes. Children make mistakes. Adults should do better. Bro, as an adult, you make way more mistakes. As an adult, adults are just grown children. I don't think you understand this, right? Adults that you see on the street, in your workplace, in church or whatever. This is why when you see it traumatized, because a lot of people are traumatized. Matter of fact, probably like 95% of the world, the earth, is traumatized. When did you get traumatized? How did you get traumatized? Most trauma happens as a child. So you carry that trauma as a child forever. That means you are just a grown child. That's why you never forget the times your dad picked you up when you were 5 years old and you went to buy bicycle and you went to this beach in South Carolina or in Florida, because you are a grown child. So when people say, well, you know what? Children make mistakes, adults don't make mistakes. Adults make mistakes. Okay, adults make mistakes. Y'all need to better chill with all that stuff. Do I support this guy? Absolutely not. Do I support the pardon? Absolutely yes.
A pardon of his brother, absolutely. And James Comer is definitely gearing up for this right now.
The Ford pardon of Nixon was just as sweeping as this, with one difference. This covers double the amount of time. So you could call this Watergate. You have the people who love to say that on the left. So theoretically, you could make that case today. But look at this, Lisa, the Politico headline. Leave it to the media. I know you know what I'm talking about. The Politico headline last night: Republicans pounce on Biden pardoning his son Hunter. The headline could not be Biden told us he would never do something that he actually did.
Well, and excuse me while I pounce right now. So that's what I will be doing. I think the one thing people are missing in this is it's not about Hunter Biden, it's about Joe Biden. This isn't an act of fatherly love. This is an act of self-preservation by Joe Biden. He uses his son as a pawn to enrich his entire family off of his own, office of the vice presidency, his various positions of power. And then he uses his son as a pawn to cut off potential avenues to himself and his involvement with his son's business dealings, which, of course, he had lied to us previously. As Cheryl pointed out, January 1st, 2014, that's the year when Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma. By the way, the same company that Joe Biden went and threatened Ukraine with withholding United States money from Ukraine to get the prosecutor general fired who was investigating Burisma Holdings. We know because of the Ways and Means Committee that Hunter Biden made over $8 million between the periods of 2014 to 2019 from countries like Ukraine. We also know from
Shout out to Eric. Eric says, my children have made mistakes, but they have to learn by themselves. They have to pay the consequences. That's because you're not the president of the United States, bro. You're not the president of the United States. Do you know what a president of the United States means?
Whistleblowers that the Department of Justice allowed the statute of limitations to run out on the Burisma money for Hunter Biden, that also the FBI didn't allow IRS investigators to look at Hunter Biden's laptop. So to me, this isn't about Hunter Biden. This is about Joe Biden. So let's just say he's not getting a Dad of the Year mug for Christmas.
That's true. And I would
Forever.
just say, as we go to break, they said that this weekend he made this decision, I guess, over his turkey and gravy. Okay. NBC reported that he had been talking about this back until June. This is NBC, kind of a friend of the Biden White House. And their last line, they said it was decided at the time he would publicly say he would not pardon his son, even though doing so remained on the table. So you were all...
The only thing that I hold him accountable for is, why did he say he wasn't going to do it? He shouldn't have said he wasn't going to do it. As a father, you would definitely do it. So him saying he wasn't going to do it, that was just straight up cap. And now he just set the Democratic Party probably 10, 20 years behind for this BS conversation he was having in the media for like 2 years now. I'm never going to pardon him. I'll let the DOJ do what they do. I believe in the justice system. That was BS.
Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about this. Just a week after Donald Trump threatened 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada unless they stop the flow of migrants into the country. And we said at the time, we said this is how he negotiates. This is, we'll never see the tariffs, but this is how he gets the people to the table. There are two developments, up north and down south. First up, it was just after the incoming president, Donald Trump, spoke on the phone to the president of Mexico, and they talked about some sort of an agreement on stopping the flow of people into the United States. Well, you know what happened? Mexican authorities that same day broke up 2 migrant caravans heading to the United States. And apparently, on that same day, the migrants and caravan, the president of Mexico said that migrants and caravans will be taken care of before they reach the border. That is something new, and that happened after her conversation with Donald Trump. So regarding the South, that apparently is something new, and it was because of the tariffs.
So we were telling y'all about these caravans. Last week, I guess, we were showing these images coming up to Mexico. They wanted to get here before Joe Biden is out of office. Well, now they're being stopped by the president of Mexico because Donald Trump won. Donald Trump has threatened her. Then she just put on social media, she said migrants and caravans are taken care of before they reach the border.
Wow, that's great news. They did have a difference of opinion on what went on in that conversation, on the tone and tenure, but Justin Trudeau made no mistake about it. They had a good conversation, he said, and I have a better idea. Why don't I come down over the weekend and come visit you? And next thing you know, the Canadians are cracking down there. They got $3.1 trillion worth of goods going back and forth. He's going to run for re-election in 2025. He can't have any type of trade war with the U.S. And they are concerned about the numbers crossing in their country. And he said, I do want to stop down the northern border. How do we do it? How do we work together? So at Mar-a-Lago, they seem to have worked it out. There was Senator-elect McCormick there, and Governor Burgum is going to be Secretary of
Security Advisor.
Yeah,
Mike Waltz.
That's Mike Waltz. That's a pretty prestigious stable. So now you have on both situations engaged, active, addressing.
Boy, did I miss this. Look, every country's leader is going to go back home and beat their chest, and because they.
Nobody wants smoke with Trump. That's just the facts, okay? It's been like that, will forever be like that, because you don't want smoke with this dude. You never know what he's going to do. And this is how a leader should be. You should never know what your leader is going to do. You should always predict what he's going to do, but not exactly what he's going to do, okay? This is how to lead. You must be very, very unpredictable. You can't be predictable every single time. This is what they're going to do. This is what she's going to do. This is what he's going to do. Nope. You got to, switch it up once in a while. And this is why nobody wants to smoke with him. Okay, so Canada, they're playing ball. You have to play ball because you need this dude, bro. Canada needs the United States. Mexico needs the Mexico needs the United States way more than Canada needs the United States. But what's his name? Trudeau needs to get reelected, so he definitely has to play ball. The only people that may be issue is China. Okay, but Mexico, Canada, man, easy.
They don't want to appear weak, and this is what the Mexican president is doing. She's saying, look, the call went differently. I don't judge it by that. I judge by the action. And the bottom line is that the groups that are coming across have slowed down. They've been disbarred. They've been disbanded. The caravan has been broken up. So something happened over that phone.
And don't you think they
call.
watched?
Of
They
course.
watched America. I mean, he has a re-election,
100%.
Trudeau, and don't you think he watched what happened here in America? He's like, wait a minute. That's why he did that video saying,
With a
I'm going to go
Trump-like
after
candidate.
immigration now.
Well, and the Canadian border minister told Bloomberg after the meeting at Mar-a-Lago, now Canada is going to devote more drones and choppers and staff to the northern border, our northern border, their southern border. It's all because of the Trump tariff threat. That's all it took.
No, Steve,
it was just a threat.
This is just a coincidence.
That's a party.
This is just happening by chance. The phone call meant nothing. It has nothing to do with new administration coming in or not. I think this is a promise made and a promise kept. And remember, he said from the very beginning, some of this stuff was going to be done before he even took office. And all the pundits and commentators said, no, there's no way. He thinks that he can just pick up his phone and things get fixed. Well, lo and behold, things have already started to happen before he actually has the power as president.
A couple of things. In Springfield, Ohio, the Haitian migrants are beginning to go to sanctuary cities. Number two is there's been arrest of the Aurora Venezuelan gangsters in New York City. Why is that?
What's happening?
Yeah. So we'll see. Now suddenly it's not cool to be a gangster.
Right.
You guys, I'm telling you guys, nobody wants smoke. That's how easy it is to change things. He said he was going to fix this before he becomes the president. He is the president-elect right now, but not the president of the United States. The current president is still Joe. So apparently Joe is in Angola right now making deals. Shout out to Joe. He's pardoning his son, making deals in Angola. Man, if I got 49 days to go, I'm definitely making deals.
President-elect Trump dropping a bomb on the deep state by tapping Kash Patel to lead the FBI. Trump says Kash will work to snuff out America's crime epidemic, bust up migrant gangs, and stymie drug and human trafficking. It's got all the usual suspects in the media spooked. Listen.
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI. Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job. It's not even like a matter for debate.
I haven't seen what the proof is that the FBI has been weaponized against a political party. The deep state, nobody's ever defined it. Apparently, it just means anybody who doesn't do the will of Donald Trump.
So the reaction to this, Charlie, is just similar to the Gates nomination reaction.
Yeah, the enemy of these people is going to be my friend, no matter what. It's the greatest endorsement you could possibly come up with. No, this is going to be, we were talking a minute ago, and it's true. With the defenestration of Matt Gaetz, these are going to be the hearings to watch. This is going to be the opportunity to put the Department of Justice on trial. It's going to be fantastic watching these hearings. And I think, and Kash Patel has a lot of experience. For example, we would not know about the whole Steele dossier and what a fraud it is if it had not been for the work that he and Devin Nunes did. And he was Nunes's right-hand guy there. And so, it's hard to overstate how much credit he deserves for Donald Trump getting reelected. He wouldn't even be, if all of that hadn't been exposed, the depth of the rot in the Department of Justice hadn't been exposed, I don't think Donald Trump could have come back and won reelection. And so it's going to be, these hearings are going to be amazing. I don't know whether or not, I would imagine that most Republicans are going to look at him and say, assuming that he does a good job in the hearings, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to give Trump his pick here.
Right, but these are going to be tight. I mean, he can't afford to lose, what, more than 3, right?
Not too many. And one thing that I thought was interesting is if you have a chance to listen to or read what Trey Gowdy said about Kash Patel last night, because Trey Gowdy, let's say you don't know Kash Patel from anybody, you couldn't pick him out of a lineup, and you do trust somebody like a Trey Gowdy who said he is an excellent choice, that he'll do a terrific job, and I'm like, Trey Gowdy, I would imagine there's a lot of Republicans who, if they are like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm initially concerned. You hear from somebody like Trey Gowdy, who has a lot of integrity and a lot of credibility still on the Hill, as a lot of other people don't, think that that says a lot. The other thing is the Hunter Biden pardon takes a lot of pressure off of Kash Patel, because now you had, that was going to be the big story going into the week, and it no longer is, because President Biden decided to make that news and step on that story.
And they decided it over Thanksgiving dinner in
Yes,
Nantucket.
of course, right.
That's when
Right.
it all went down. Jessica, how do you see Kash Patel?
The good news is he is not being accused of having sex with a minor. So the bar, we're up here, so that's good. He also, in good news, just put his enemies list out there. It's in his book, Government Gangsters. His vision for reforming the FBI, I guess, is just being angry at people who worked for Barack Obama and Republicans who are mean to Trump.
Not a bad place to start.
Sure. Bill Barr, who I know some people on the Republican side, or I guess the MAGA side, think of as squishy, now said that he would be the deputy director of the FBI over his dead body.
Shout out to Bubby. Bubby says, I have to subscribe at this point. Shout out to you, bro.
Just want to make sure I get that correct. He is an avid children's book author. The Plot Against the King. Hillary's
those
the
are good
Villain.
books.
Okay, send that for the holidays. Cleo could use it. He has a clothing line. He hawks anti-vax diet supplements. And he nearly botched a 2020 hostage rescue, a 27-year-old American who was being held in Nigeria. He fabricated the fact that the government over there knew about it.
I mean, what does Nigeria have to do with this now? Come on, Fox News.
Mark Esper has spoken about this. But otherwise, I think he's totally qualified.
But they got the hostages out, right?
After, do you think it's okay to
They got it
lie?
out, right?
Oh, I see
Yeah, so
how
the
we're going to do
hostage
that.
was rescued, so it wasn't really botched. What do you believe Kash Patel's all about, Judge?
I don't know him that well. He's one of the few people that I haven't interviewed. I don't know why. I mean, you know, he was involved in the first Trump administration. But I'll tell you what I like about what I've read. He's interested in a declassification office in the FBI, where all government agencies, you know, have to request a classification so that, you know, those deep staters that what's his name doesn't seem to know. And Raskin doesn't seem to know who they are or what it means. I could tell you in 8 of my books. But so that they can't just block the American people from getting information based upon it being classified. I think that is brilliant. I'm very much behind it. The Democrats have weaponized government. They've done it for years, and they did it in the FISA court with an unverified document and money that Steele dossier was paid for by Hillary Clinton through her law firm, and it goes on. And there has been no consequence for those people who were lying about that unverified warrant. No consequence, nothing. Even the court did nothing. If you did that to me and I was a sitting judge, I'd have you disbarred for it. That you would dare to come to me to spy on an American citizen through the FISA court and through a lie that you know is unverified. But in the end, I think that is one of the most important things he can do. And it is, you know, we want to know about JFK, want to know about 9/11. I want to know about crooks. What about this Foreign Encryption Act? I mean, this app that he has that's encrypted that nobody can get into. I want to know what that says.
All right. Well, you just heard.
This guy wants to open up old document on, like you heard, JFK, 9/11, Kash Patel. This guy's about to cause an uproar. Look, it's going to be, this next 4 years is going to be interesting. 1,000%. Okay, everybody get ready. Strap your boots. You better get ready for news on news. Look, this is good for the media, okay? This is absolutely good for the media. For the past 4 years, you've had no news, zero news. You never knew where your vice president was until she ran for election. Did you? No. But now, you're going to know because X, Instagram, TikTok would be booming. YouTube would be booming because your president loves to talk on social media. Yeah. The OG Trump loves to talk on social media, so that's what time it is right now. So what next? What next right here? Somebody spoke about reining down prices or reining up prices. One thing I like for sure that Trump said was he was going to bring down interest rate. It was going to cap interest rate actually to 10% on credit cards. So interest rate on credit cards, 10%. That's absolutely wild because it's currently like 28% right now. I mean, from 28% to 10%, and mortgage rate is like what, 8-9%, 7-8-9%. And when he was president, it was like 2.89%. So that's just outrageous. Okay, I don't know what they did for the past 4 years, but they just skyrocket everything. That's not acceptable. Okay. I believe it's going to bring down prices, especially electricity bill. He said it was going to slash electricity bill by 50% in 1 year. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but he said he's going to do it. So, and you know, this guy prides himself in being a man of his words.
We are now getting a fresh new glimpse at the massive amount of cash sanctuary cities have soaked up on people who are not American citizens. Both Denver and New York City are spending hundreds of millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars. So the citizens are paying all that money for people who are not citizens. And you won't believe where some of the money is going. New York City effectively paid $220 million to Pakistan in order to rent the Roosevelt Hotel as a full-time shelter for people who were not citizens, who many of them came across our border illegally, but they're here. Vivek Ramaswamy is going after this with this quote. A taxpayer-funded hotel for illegal immigrants is owned by the Pakistani government, which means NYC taxpayers are effectively paying a foreign government to house illegals in our own country. This is nuts, end quote. Now let's just go on over to the sanctuary city of Denver. According to one nonpartisan research report, the city has spent more than $356 million on its migrant response since December of 2022. That comes out to nearly $8,000 per migrant and 8% of the city's total budget. Now, that word migrant is not synonymous with illegal immigrant. And when you look at the percentages of people who came here either illegally or really do need to leave for crimes they're still committing, that's a big chunk. $356 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of money. There's a formula here, and let's put it very simply. You are an American citizen. You go to your job. You work 9 to 5. Maybe you work 2 jobs. Maybe you work more than 40 hours a week. Then you hand over this lump sum of cash to the federal government. If you're in a blue state like here in New York, you hand it over to the state government and to the city government. And then how confounding is it to you that you learn your money went to a foreign country to house foreigners who are illegal immigrants who came in illegally? Oh, wait, but there's more. The cherry on top of all of this, and it's not a cherry, it's a huge, huge problem. Laken Riley murder suspect received taxpayer-funded stay at Roosevelt Hotel. So you funded Jose Ibarra, a murderer, to stay in a luxury hotel before he killed a 22-year-old in Georgia who should still be with us here today. That's how it worked.
And we know post that trial just a couple of weeks ago that he and his brother were members of that Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. So if you want to hook up with your homies from south of the border who want to kill people, run cartel drugs, do all the thing, I guess you go to the hotel that Pakistan owns at the Roosevelt and then have American taxpayers pay for your stay.
You know what else is crazy, too? You know, a big chunk of federal money was handed out by the Biden administration to a lot of states. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons earlier this year you started seeing states on the jobs reports doing better than expected. Like, oh, the jobs reports were great, you know. All that money was designed to be spent specifically for things like, to fatten up the jobs report or these sort of programs. But think about that tweet that Vivek retweeted, that X post. In conjunction with the International Monetary Fund, a $1.1 billion loan to Pakistan. Wait a minute. We're putting Americans at risk to put money into the pockets of the International Monetary Fund, which, by the way, lends money to these third world nations at rates that the mafia would blush at, right? I mean, you talk about the establishment, the international cartel of establishment holding everyone back and manipulating everything. This is nuts that your taxpayer money is going through all of these sort of things to deceive us and put us in harm at the same time. It's crazy.
I told you he was leaning in.
I
think you.
International Monetary Fund.
IMF. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Charles, because that blew me away when I saw this initial report this morning that it was the IMF that's obviously loaning money to Pakistan. And then and by the way, it's the Pakistani airlines that owns the Roosevelt Hotel and then lease it back to the city of New York, who gets federal funding. But then also remember state and local taxpayers. To your point, Kayleigh, they're the ones that are funding all of this.
That seems so dirty.
It is. It's just a complete misuse of funding, and it just goes in a big fat circle. And this is why when Eric Adams was saying it's going to be $10 billion, and he was asking Biden for billions, before he got indicted, by the way, that the Biden administration was scoffing. I don't know if that was politics or if that was just the fact that these estimates for what this was going to cost the city were completely out of control. One of the things that's happening to our local economy really quick, this year you've got all these tourists, here for the holidays, right, in New York City. Hotel prices are at new records,
through the roof.
7% higher than last year. So who is going to end up funding all of this? Tourists.
Yeah.
People coming to experience Christmas in New York.
They're soaking them so that they have cash left over to give it to people who came here illegally and want to sleep there.
The thing is, it's nuts to us, but not to the left. And that's what's so crazy about this. And you follow their line of thinking in all of this. I mean, look at after the trial of Laken Riley's killer. What did a media headline read? Laken Riley's killer never stood a chance. Not Laken Riley, the innocent person in this, but the illegal immigrant killer who came into our country who shouldn't be in the first place. Somehow he's the victim in this. Or you look at the interview between ABC's Martha Raddatz and J.D. Vance when she said, oh, it's only a handful of apartment complexes that Trey De Arauga has taken over in Aurora, Colorado. And his response was, Martha, do you hear yourself? Do you realize how crazy this sounds? Or the fact that under the Biden administration, we've had hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens here, convicted criminals or facing charges that they have allowed to step foot in America. So, it should be nuts, but it's not to the left. And they have this twisted mentality where somehow they are putting, illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. We go last, according to them.
So that number that you just were talking about, all of those who've come from other countries and they broke into our country, so they broke our law, but they had committed other crimes before. So just a few weeks ago, that number was 425,000. Today, we had it on the Faulkner Focus, and I said, hey, has that number moved? Yeah, it's over 435,000. You mean you found 10,000 more and they're still here?
Well, and how many more
Why can't you get rid of these people?
And how many are going to flood to sanctuary cities between now and January 20th?
Yeah.
Trump has a lot of work to do. He definitely has work to do. I don't know how he's gonna send his people back or get them out of here because people have dispersed. Okay, I don't know how he's gonna do it. However, it's I hope he does it. I hope he gets everybody in place. Tom Homan is not playing around. He definitely isn't playing around. This guy is his face is like the border wall. With that being said, Department of Government Efficiency, which is Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, both of them 1,000% will get the efficiency in the governmental body. One thing that I know for sure, that's what's going to happen. Because Elon Musk is smart, Vivek is smart, and they're innovators, and they're entrepreneurs, and they know how to cut costs. So that's going to happen, regardless of what anybody says. I mean, how can Pentagon be failing audits for 7 times? Department of Education failing audits for 3 times. IRS agent failing audits. And then you want to audit the American people. Man, you better chill with over there. Shout out to Hunter, man. He got pardoned.
Hey, big Fox News alert we've been covering for you all morning long. Hunter Biden's pardon comes after months of the White House insisting the president will not let his son off the hook.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I can say that it is still very much a no to the questions that I've gotten about if the president's going to pardon his son.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins me now. Very clear, Joe. Clear as mud.
Yeah. Karine Jean-Pierre, she's going to be great on The View.
isn't she, Todd? I mean, she's going to be worked in that rotation, no doubt, or handed a primetime show on MSNBC. Either way, we could look at this two ways, right? If President Biden, and yes, he's still president, even though most Americans barely see or hear from the guy anymore, if Joe Biden didn't pardon his criminal son, some would be saying how horrible a father he was for not doing that while shamefully walking out of the Oval Office after what many can call the worst presidency of anyone's lifetime. On the other hand, if Joe didn't pardon Hunter, and yes, it's hard having the name Joe these days, then my bet is future President Trump would have, either in the name of unity or just to, troll Democrats and their many allies in the media into completely losing their minds again for doing so. Either way, entities from the New York Post to Fox News are vindicated here, because we were told from 51 former intelligence officers back in October 2020, right before that election, that Hunter Biden's laptop was a product of Russian disinformation, and every media outlet outside of this one echoed that sentiment as if it were gospel, as if it were absolute fact. Twitter, run by Elon Musk, not run by Elon Musk, but Jack Dorsey, and Facebook, and that duplicitous phony, Mark Zuckerberg running it then and running it now, literally shut down accounts which said the laptop and its contents were real. This pardon now closes a chapter on one of the most sorry moments for our media and the deep state alike, and it cements Joe Biden and his team's legacy, like Karine Jean-Pierre, as the most dishonest, least accessible administration in American history, and that ain't hyperbole. Yes, he gets away with it, but we all saw this coming, let's face it.
A mile away. Jim Jordan asked the perfect question, I'll just add. If Democrats in the media insisted for so long that there was nothing to the Biden impeachment inquiry, then why did Joe just issue a pardon for the very thing that they were inquiring about? That's a perfect question.
Boom.
We will leave it out there. Before we let you go, Trump's FBI director pick, Kash Patel, sending shockwaves through the media. Watch.
Kash Patel as FBI director would be like if you crossed Alex Jones with J. Edgar Hoover in terms of just how much he would want to ignore precedent.
If there was any doubt that President-elect Donald Trump intends to follow through with his promises of radical change and retribution, both here at home and abroad, those doubts have been erased.
This pick is another sign that Trump plans to follow through on his promises to disrupt Washington.
Joe, what do you make of the hyperventilating coming out of the deep state through their mouthpieces in the mainstream media?
Todd, I was watching over the weekend the likes of Andrew McCabe on CNN absolutely losing his mind over there after President-elect Trump selected Kash Patel as his FBI director, given that McCabe, was fired from the FBI for leaking sensitive information to the press and then later lied about it under oath, only to be hired by CNN, which felt, like 5 minutes after that firing to lecture all of us on ethics and honesty. Donald Trump is sending a clear message here. Our system is broken. It is still, I'm not saying like the rank and file are the ones that are politicizing the FBI. Of course not. They're doing the hard work to keep us safe. But let's face it, the FBI has now become weaponized, just like the DOJ is weaponized, just like the CIA is weaponized. I could go down the line. Something has to be done. Donald Trump promised change. This is change. He's promised disruptors. We see it now when it comes to Kash Patel or our friend Pete Hegseth as far as Secretary of Defense. And I could go down the line, Tulsi Gabbard, Bobby Kennedy Jr. This is an administration that wants to fix Washington for real. And that's where we're at this point. Let's see if he gets confirmed. Either way, this is change. This is what it looks like. Election has consequences, guys.
And my favorite line is, Kash Patel is a threat to bureaucracy. Yeah, he is. He's a threat to the bureaucracy there, and I think so many people could have that.
This guy is changing things already. And by this guy, I mean the legend, the Don, Trump. Because Trump has appointed, imagine just nominating Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is like of the change. She's a veteran, strong lady, smart, intelligent, brave. Now, I think he nominated her for Director of National Intelligence, DNI, and he also nominated RFK for HHS. And who else? He's been nominating a lot of people. Pete Hegseth for Pentagon. Like, so many people are doing what they're supposed to do. And these guys are like conservatives. It's just that RFK and Tulsi Gabbard were not conservatives, okay? They were just like, sort of kind of around conservatives conversation, but now they've become full-time conservatives. And Tulsi said she is a Republican now. She's converted to being a Republican. I think in 2028, Tulsi Gabbard is going to be the vice presidential nominee. I do not want the Republican Party to say she should be the presidential nominee because that's just going to be. It may be a good choice, but in my opinion, that she may not be ready for that yet. But she is, this point today, ready to be the vice president of the United States. So maybe JD. But the thing is, where has JD been though? I haven't heard anything from JD. Let me know, guys. Have you heard anything from JD Vance? I used to see JD Vance every day during the campaign trial and all that stuff. Campaign trail, and events and roundtable conversation and town halls. All of a sudden, I don't know where JD is. Is it just me? Because all I see now is the OG Trump and Elon and Vivek, and I don't really see Tulsi too like that. I don't see RFK too like that. Now JD better come out here and do what he's supposed to do.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Huh. Not true. Fox News alert this morning, fallout over President Biden's big reversal as he pardons his son Hunter after repeatedly claiming he would never pardon his son Hunter. Fox News legal editor Kerry Urban joins us now. Kerry, your reaction to something we all knew was coming and the letter that followed to explain.
Yeah, we knew this was coming. We knew that he wasn't telling the truth. We knew he was going to do it one way or the other. But I have to say, Brian, my takeaway from all of this is that this is actually fantastic, politically speaking, for Donald Trump. Joe Biden has lowered the bar so much here in offering this pardon to Hunter Biden that I think Donald Trump will be able to pardon a whole host of people, including January 6th, without necessarily the pushback he would have received otherwise. Of course, people in the media will complain because they always do. But what can they point to at this point? So you have that. Maybe he could even explore a preemptive pardon for himself. And then, of course, he doesn't just now have a mandate from the American people in cleaning up the justice system who are sick of lawfare. Now he has it from President Biden, too. They're all on the same page. So they all agree that there is a problem in the justice system. The pardons are going to become a lot easier. And also, Joe Biden just pulled the ultimate move in overriding the DOJ, which, of course, in the past, people would go crazy if Donald Trump had anything to say about what the Department of Justice was doing. So I personally think President Biden just made things a whole lot easier for Donald Trump going to term 2.
I think that's a good point, too. And it's the first time I can remember Democrats coming out blatantly against him. Governor Jared Polis says, I understand it's his son, but he can't support this action. It's a bad precedent. She could be abused by later presidents, case in point. And Congressman Greg Stanton, a Democrat from Arizona, I respect Biden, but I think he got this wrong. This wasn't a politically motivated prosecution. Hunter committed felonies and was convicted by a jury of his peers. What I find stunning and must really bother you as somebody who lives in the law world,
what are you
is that he says,
about,
I trust the justice system, the
I like
justice
that,
system,
Shout out to
but not
Average.
now, not here, but I still trust it. Also, he lied on something so I thought over the weekend I decided to make the decision. Why wait? We know you didn't decide over the weekend. So why would someone, if you were his attorney, why put all these things that are so easily exploited in a letter to explain something so controversial?
Because I don't think he cares. He's trying to have it both ways on his way out. What does he have to lose at this point? Nothing. There'll be a 24-hour, 48-hour news cycle on this, if that, maybe a line in his Wikipedia page. But what kind of ramifications does Joe Biden face for this? Nothing. He really doesn't. And so I think that, again, politically, it's good for Donald Trump. It's not bad for Joe Biden. And I will say this, Brian, I thought it was interesting in his statement about them treating Hunter differently. I actually agree with him a little bit on that because they did give him special treatment up front. And the only reason we know that they did is because of those whistleblowers. And then when the political pressure was so intense as to what they had done, and then we saw it all fall apart in court, that's when they changed. So they made a deal with Hunter they never should have made in the first place. So that was bad. That's special treatment. But then they pulled the deal, which, by the way, is also not fair once you've done something like that. So they messed up this entire case. He's not wrong in that he was treated differently. I just have a little bit of a different perspective on how differently he was treated.
Right. This is just real quick on the plea deal.
He said they had a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the department and unraveled in the courtroom. It unraveled in the courtroom because the judge said, I've never seen anything quite like this. Can you explain it? And both sides go, no. So let's start again.
Right, but I think that's a point of truth in this statement. I think that Hunter Biden and his lawyers were genuinely surprised. I think that DOJ had worked out this plea deal of a lifetime, was hoping it would go away, was giving him the special treatment, and then they got caught, they were exposed, and then they leaned in really heavily. So that's what happened there.
Carrie, I know there's so much more we could talk about, but I appreciate putting their perspective. And the one person smiling lives at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you very much.
Yes, y'all. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Okay, let's get the likes up. This is how to like the live show. You double tap your screen. Double tap your screen. One more time. You double tap your screen to give this video a like. All right. With that being said, so Jill Biden, the First Lady of the United States, was asked, what do you think about the pardon? Do you support the pardon of your son, Hunter? She says, of course I support the pardon of my son. What mother wouldn't support the pardon of her son? Watch this.
Dr. Biden, do you support the pardon of Hunter?
First Lady Jill Biden breaking her silence, saying that she supports what some are calling the most sweeping pardon since Richard Nixon. President Biden issuing a blanket pardon for his son Hunter. It covers a decade-long period where Hunter had been convicted of tax and gun crimes, as well as other offenses that haven't even been adjudicated yet. The president argues that Hunter got a raw deal and singled out because he's his son. Biden even portrayed it as an act of honesty, saying this: for my entire career, I have followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. But many feel that just smacks in the face of reality and these repeated denials President Biden gave to the media.
Jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
And now it looks like someone's not getting their story straight. So that last clip we showed you of President Biden was from June. And then this, according to NBC News, June is when Joe Biden was discussing the Hunter pardon with his aides, some of who decided at the time that he would publicly say he would not pardon his son, even though doing so remained on the table. However, just today, Karine Jean-Pierre said that was a recent development. Watch.
He said he came to this decision this weekend, and he said he wrestled with this, and because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice.
He's saying his own Justice Department is broken.
Karine Jean-Pierre, she's tired, bro. She's tired. She's ready to go. She's ready to go home.
Infected with politics.
She's tired of this administration. She's like, I don't have to lie anymore.
How deep is the rot? How many selective prosecutions are there at the DOJ?
What I can speak to is this particular case.
I'm not going to subject you to this other thing unless we need it, about how Karine Jean-Pierre said a million times from the podium that he would not do the pardon. But that is what happened. So we're going to take it on the table here. Judge, let's start with you. The one thing about this pardon is how sweeping it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like a whole 11 years, like anything that he did within that time frame.
Did you notice that?
I certainly did.
You know, and some of those years encompass the years that David Weiss, as a so-called special counsel now, I think he is, allowed the statute of limitations to run in the highest earning years that Hunter Biden had, in the years that certainly involved his father and his business dealings. Look, they've done everything they can to try to cover up what they did. They have denied, they have lied. Joe Biden started out this presidency by saying, I know nothing about my son's businesses, and he's ending his presidency by lying again and pardoning his son. The bottom line here is that they're afraid of something. They're afraid of the Trump Justice Department being weaponized and going after Hunter for things that David Weiss did not indict him for. And
people are saying that Joe is afraid of Trump's Department of Justice and FBI for going after his son. No, this is just the fact. Maybe yes. However, most people are saying he has to go testify in Congress. He still has to testify in Congress. Even if he has immunity now because he can't go to jail anymore, his father pardoned him. You still have to go testify in Congress because if you're being summoned by Congress, even though you have immunity, you still have to go talk to Congress. So whatever you're saying, first of all, Joe Biden can never go to jail. Okay, this is just something you need to understand. Most people at the back who don't understand this game of life and wealth and influence and power, Joe Biden was never going to go to jail. He's never going to go to jail. Just like Trump was never going to go to jail. Okay, Trump was never going to jail. They were trying, but it's still like a game, bro. They were trying to wear him down. They were trying to take his energy. They were trying to take his money, especially his money, because you think this court cases are free. People like that, you spend millions of dollars on court cases, on lawyers. So they were trying to take money, and they knew he was running for re-election in 2024. So it's like, we're going to take your money from, they've been taking his money from like 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. And he's been campaigning since then. So he's campaigning, he's paying lawyers, he's paying for court dates, he's doing a lot of stuff. And he's still paying for campaigns. So this guy has been working hard. They were just trying to bring him down. They weren't trying to send him to jail. Everybody knew Trump was never going to jail. Just like Joe Biden. It's like saying Joe Biden is going to go to jail. He needs to go to jail. Do you, like, in what world have you ever heard someone like Joe Biden go to jail? This is real life, okay? It's two tiers of justice system. One for the elite and influential. One for the down lows, brookies. It is what it is, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
You know, only Donald Trump can speak to that issue. But let me just say a couple things, Dana, and I'll be very quick here. Look, they knew that jail time was coming for Hunter Biden. He's convicted of 2 felonies, not 1, 2. And if Joe Biden says there's no reasonable prosecutor who would look at these facts and reach the same conclusion, he was singled out because of my son. Well, if he was singled out because he was your son, why didn't you fire Merrick Garland? If the Justice Department is so selective in their prosecutions, fire the guy that you hired, okay? Let's talk about the fact that he's always said that no one is above the law. Hunter Biden is a classic example of someone who's above the law because he was never even sentenced. Most of the pardons that we hear about are pardons where someone has served their time, they paid their debt to society, and they're going to end up, you know, getting it removed. It's an impediment going forward. Not this case. We won't even know what his sentence would have been. And then for him to call out the media and selective prosecution is absurd. A jury found him guilty. Are you saying that you don't believe in the jury system anymore, Mr. President? And by the way, is your son stupid? He pled guilty to 6 tax evasion counts. So if that's selective prosecution, why didn't he take it to trial and say, this is a selective prosecution? So look, it's all about Joe Biden lying. He's starting and ending his presidency in the same way.
And Charlemagne the God said this today, Jessica, if you had play that for everyone.
I just want Democrats to stop acting like they are on this moral high ground politically when they have shown us they're not, you know, whether it's skipping the primary process when Biden stepped down and things like Biden pardon.
Of course, I support this guy. Of course, I support him because it's like that's what you get. Trying to act like you're some righteous person and all that stuff. You're not righteous, okay? You pardon your son. You were gonna pardon your son. You will definitely pardon your son if it was you guys watching right now. You definitely pardon your son. So, you know, they need to chill.
I think that a lot of people are doing political jockeying, right? Like if I'm thinking about running in the future, I want to be on record as saying this is an abuse of power. And maybe we should have a larger conversation about presidential pardons because it seems like they're perhaps too sweeping and that on your way out, you can just about do anything. I think that for a lot of rank and file Democrats, they actually would rather see Joe Biden do this because this feels like Mitch McConnell vibes. Someone who's like, we're not going to see Merrick Garland before Donald Trump comes into office, and I'm going to make sure that Supreme Court seat is open. It has more backbone than they're used to seeing from Joe Biden. He should have always said maybe, though, about this. It was, you know, and I said you.
This is the same thing I said. He should have just said maybe. Okay, maybe, maybe not. This is what Trump would have said. Trump would have said, maybe I'll pardon my son, maybe not. I don't know. For now, okay? I mean, that's my son. I may do it. Maybe. That's all he had to do. He kept saying, no, no. Like, what are you thinking you're doing? Trying to convince your voters?
You guys asked me, well, do you believe him? And I said, I have no reason not to believe him, but you would think that any parent would be thinking in the back of their mind, I don't want my kid to go to jail. And if it's true what Karine Jean-Pierre said about the timing of this, I'm sure that this weekend the news rolled in that Charles Kushner is going to be the ambassador to France, a very cushy job, someone who was pardoned for what Chris Christie, who prosecuted him, called one of the most loathsome and disgusting crimes. I mean, the guy videotaped.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the juxtaposition
Well, he
of
served
that,
time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he served
did.
time.
That's
Okay.
right.
It's
Kushner
about-
did. He paid his debt to society. That's
Okay.
the end of it.
And the NBC News report, Jessica, says that this is NBC News saying that Biden was saying publicly, of course I'm not going to pardon
Right,
him,
while
but
he
that
was-
privately having conversations saying, of course it's on the table. And this is why no one believed him anyway. Now all the lies come. I had the 4 lies, I'm going to add the 5th lie. And this is the one.
I don't disagree with it. He should have just always said, maybe, I don't know. I have to see where the chips fall on this. But one of the messages that came out of the election was that voters don't think Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy. They don't care about norms or any of the things that Democrats were campaigning on. And I think that Joe Biden just essentially said, on my way out, I don't care anymore, and I'm just going to protect my kid.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm buying all of that, but I want to hear what you think.
I'd protect
Jesse?
my kid if Jesse Jr. did something bad.
But you
I'd
probably
pardon
wouldn't
him.
let him be on the board of Burisma and like send you a check for $300.
Probably not. I wouldn't.
bag man.
I
Jesse
wouldn't
would
need the
definitely
money.
let him do that.
I wouldn't need the money like Joe Biden's family, who couldn't make
Do you
an
make
honest
that
buck.
much?
It's prime time.
Maybe my mom wouldn't pardon me, but I'm sure my father would. But that's the point: is that everybody knew he was going to pardon his son.
Right.
Even Jessica knew. Oh, you didn't expect Joe Biden to lie? The man's lied his whole career, Jessica. Politicians lie. I mean, Democrats are now trying to wrap their heads around the fact that we're like, oh, well, maybe we're not the party of moral superiority. Maybe we're not the party of Democrat ideals and principles. How many lies can you guys take? They lied about the laptop, the lab leak, the coup, now the pardon. Even Democrats are saying, I don't feel so great about these guys saying that they're the party of principle anymore. This guy and all the rest of these politicians prove time and time again, they're just like the regular, sleazy, scummy, corrupt politicians.
Definitely sleazy, scummy, corrupt.
They'll do anything.
So they're just like Trump.
They'll do anything. All politicians lie to
So they're just like Trump. She's wild. Yeah.
protect their families, to protect their power, protect their money, Jessica. And anybody with a brain could see this coming a mile away. The difference is Trump wouldn't have lied about it. Trump comes in and Trump's like, yeah, I'm going to pardon J6ers. I'm going to fire the FBI director, and I'm going to recess appoint my cabinet if the Senate gives me trouble. And you know what? He probably will. And people respect that. We want people that keep promises, not people who break promises. And this just proves the entire term was a cover-up. As the judge said, a blanket pardon to 14? Oh, just when the portfolio for Ukraine got handed to the big guy? What's that about, Jessica? Why would he need to go back that far? Think about it. This whole setup that they had was a big money laundering scheme. He'd go around the world, sell access to his dad, and then the FBI and the CIA would look to see who was trying to scam the U.S. government. And then ever notice that everybody around Hunter Biden is either in prison or on federal wiretaps? This whole thing was an intelligence operation.
When Jared Moskowitz asked James Comer, he said, I'll do it. Let's impeach Joe Biden. And James Comer flipped out, and no Republicans wanted to go on record about impeaching him because they didn't have it.
Donald Trump got impeached for looking into what Joe just pardoned his son for.
Yeah, but
you guys said it's okay for foreign nationals to bribe a first family?
Yeah, but how
And
many
as long as it doesn't hit the
politicians-
guy's checking account, and then a check hits the checking account, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
Let's get Charlie in. You've been in D.C. for a while. I've seen a lot of things. On the scale of 1 to 10, like with 10 being the most brazen, how brazen was this?
Well, it's pretty brazen, but I agree that we all knew this was going to happen. And it's not surprising that Joe Biden would be lying. He has lied throughout his entire career. before Barack Obama plucked him out of obscurity, he was known.
He has lied throughout his whole career. Golly, that was hard to hear.
Almost exclusively for his failure at campaigns because he lied about absolutely everything. So all of that's not really a surprise. Right. I think what's kind of interesting is the Democrat reaction to it. I think the fact that they are kind of freaking out has a lot to do with the fact that it's like Joe Biden rolled another grenade into the Democrat Party as he's being forced off the stage by confirming basically what Donald Trump's entire campaign is, which is that the Department of Justice is filled with corruption and that there are all these political persecutions going on. And now, I mean, if you read his statement and just take out the sort of absurd things he says about Hunter Biden being persecuted, it sounds like a statement that Donald Trump would have made. Yeah. The truth is, Hunter Biden is the most privileged criminal in Washington. He's gotten every advantage. And so when he talks about a political persecution, it's not in the way that he thinks. The last thing I think is kind of interesting is that usually politicians wait until January 20th to drop their controversial pardons. He's doing it now. So my question is, who is he going to pardon on January 20th? Is he going to pardon his brother? Is he going to pardon himself? This pardon is so extraordinary because of the length, but also because it was a prospective pardon. It pardoned Hunter all the way to midnight. Yeah. So it pardoned him into the future, which is a great thing to have. Is he going to pardon himself into the future when he walks out the door? I would bet money that Joe Biden pardons himself before he
Pick
leaves
your
office.
own pardon adventure.
Yeah.
Biden himself.
Yo, you heard it. Will Joe pardon himself? I don't know. Look, he may, man, because like you heard, if he's pardoning Hunter now on December 1st, which was yesterday, who is he going to pardon on January 19, January 20th? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Shout out to the moderator, Average Joe, the legendary Average Joe. God bless you, Brody. And shout out to everybody who tuned in. Chase, Willis, make pizza great again. Yeah, you better make pizza great again. Who else, man? Who? Truth Biscuit. Everybody who tuned in. Okay, before I let you guys go, one more time. Let's get the likes up. This is how to like the live stream. Double tap your screen. Double tap your screen like that. If you would have given this stream. Okay, double tap your screen. 1, 2. And that's how to like that's how to like the show. Okay. Shout out to everybody tuning in. You guys are the best. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in God. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you guys. All right. I also dropped a video on my page. Let me show you guys before I dip. You guys need to go see that. That was like my full opinion on the Hunter Biden pardon. Let me get that link for you guys. So it's right here. Copy link. Let's see. Let's see. It's right here. Let's see if it plays. Let's see if it plays. And illegal campaign contribution. All right, so this is the video right here. It's called Joe Biden Lied as he pardons his son. It's on my video page. It's on the same channel. Just go to the video page and you can watch this. Okay, I'm going to mute it and play a little bit. But I want you guys to see this video right here. Look at Hunter. Look at Hunter right here, bro. Look at Hunter right here. Y'all better go see this video. Y'all go watch this video right here, okay? Go watch this video right here. I reacted to the issue going on. But yeah, it's on my video page, okay? It's on my video page. It's on the same page. Right now, you're on the live part of the page. Just go to the video part of the page and you can see this video. It's the last video I just uploaded today, probably this morning. All right. Thank you for tuning in to the live show. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Except I will be back probably by midnight because we stream like 3, 4 times a day, or sometimes we stream for a long time, probably like 6, 7 hours a day. It's wild. I know. We stream a long time. God bless you guys. God bless you for rocking with me. It is your boy Genesis. I love you guys. Thank you to the veterans, okay? Thank you to the people who serve